what Dana White and the UFC is trying to do with Sean O'Malley, and that is push at us that he is a needle mover, that he is somebody that can bring in pay-per-views. He is somebody that's a draw, right? Now, I don't know about that. Aljamain Sterling. Hey, what's going on, fight fans? Hey, this is Coach D, the Wild Man, coming at you again with another episode of Coach D Media. Now, you know I do with Coach D Media. I talk about all things combat sports related, from the highs to the lows. All right, let's go ahead and get back into it. Today, we're going to talk about freaking Sean O'Malley versus Tito Vera, number 2, going into UFC 299, which is coming up pretty soon. Now, that's not the real story. The real story is what Dana White and the UFC is trying to do with Sean O'Malley, and that is push at us that he is a needle mover, that he is somebody that can bring in pay-per-views. He is somebody that's a draw, right? Now, I don't know about that. Aljamain Sterling saying that freaking Sean O'Malley is not a draw. You know, Henry Cejudo also said that Sean O'Malley is not a draw. And in my opinion, he's not a draw either. I don't even think he's a star. He's a popular fighter, but I don't think he's a star. Okay? So he's being so heavily supported by the UFC to be pushed that way. So what do I mean? I can't remember the podcaster's name. I'm sorry, but I was looking at different podcast stories. Think about, okay, what I want to talk about today. And somebody made a comment that made it very interesting, saying they're heavily packing UFC 299 to try to bring in high ticket sales so they can sell it as freaking Sean O'Malley is the one that's bringing in these pay-per-view buys. So I was like, okay, let's take a look, right? So I went ahead and took a look at the card, and this particular podcaster, I can't remember his name, I apologize, but I will find it, right? He may be right. So yeah, the main event is Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera, number 2, which is in itself a pretty good fight. Is it a needle mover? No, not really. Is it going to bring a ton of pay-per-views? No, not really. If Aljamain Sterling can't do it against Sean, then Marlon Vera, I don't think it could do either, even though Marlon has a pretty good fan base, right? So I look at the card. So not only that, you got Dustin Poirier on the card, which is another star in his right as a co-main against Benito. So I don't know how good that he is, the fighter. He's ranked number 11 against number 3. I don't know about that, but you got Dustin Poirier on the card, which people are going to tune in to see him fight. You also got Kevin Holland, who's also a popular fighter, right? He's going to bring in his share of numbers against Michael Page, MVP, a new fighter coming to the UFC. People are going to be curious to see how he's going to do in the UFC. So that alone, that's enough of a star power to make this card pretty decent, right? Like I said, okay, we got enough names. Gilbert Burns is on there, another decent name. All these guys I just mentioned are up there as far as can bring their share of sales. So that alone makes it a pretty good card. Peter Yan is on there as well. Curtis Blades is on there as well. So you got enough name power on this card alone, which is rare to have these many stars on one card. So now it makes it sound like, okay, this guy may be right, that they're trying to stack this card so heavy to make freaking Sean O'Malley seem like he can move the needle, right? This card is pretty much just as good as UFC 300, if you want to look at it that way, right? And like I said, Sean is a good fighter, right? But what makes him a needle mover? He ain't a world beater. He don't got extraordinary knockouts or extraordinary finishes. He did finish, Aljamain Sterling, but some people are saying that fight will stop too soon. I don't think so, but that story is out there, right? They should have let it go on a little bit longer. That's what people were saying. So he doesn't get that as, he beat one of the best. He won, but people are saying he didn't beat the best, okay? Right? So why am I saying all this? Because Sean O'Malley is getting supported. Why is he getting supported? And then GOAT status fighters like Demetrious Johnson didn't get supported. What's the difference? What does Dana White and the UFC see in Sean O'Malley that they could not see in Demetrious Johnson, who has 10 times of a better record and is considered the GOAT. You see what I'm saying? So that's the question of this conversation is, why are they so heavy in backing Sean O'Malley and they weren't as heavy in backing Demetrious Johnson? Now, different time, different era. You know what I'm saying? You know, shit talking back then in Demetrious' era was just as important, right, as it is now, right? Henry Cejudo was around that time, up and coming star. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the fighters were around to kind of keep it pretty close to being the same, right? So what's the difference? What's the difference? Demetrious Johnson has a shit ton of accolades that Sean O'Malley would never touch. Never touch. There ain't no way Sean O'Malley is going to be, 11 title offenses. Ain't no way. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. He might not even get past Vera. See what I'm saying? Ain't no way. All right? Unless they give him tomato cans, which they can't do because he has the belt. Sooner or later, you gotta give him somebody that's worth note, or he ain't gonna never be a real draw. He gotta fight the best to be a draw. Ain't gonna happen. If he fights, Henry Cejudo, we're gonna find out real quick. So, you know what I'm saying? No. Like I said, Demetrious Johnson's got too many accolades to even consider, why not Demetrious Johnson, right? Which has been a story forever. Dana White says Demetrious Johnson wasn't a draw. He couldn't sell pay-per-views. You saying Sean O'Malley is selling pay-per-views? No. His last card against Aljamain Sterling didn't do that all that much. Didn't do that well. See what I'm saying? So what are you saying, right? Where are you getting this mentality that Sean O'Malley is the next big thing? Sean O'Malley told him himself that he's going to break Conor McGregor records. Get out of here with that crap. You see what I'm saying? It makes no sense. Makes no sense, right? So like I said, it's just a matter of who you like and who you don't like. Now, if I had to make a guess, is why they're backing Sean O'Malley so heavy. Sean O'Malley is a yes man. He's going to do what the UFC tell him to do, right? He's not his own man, right? He's pretty much bought and paid for, right? Number two, he's a character, right? He fits an attention getter that Demetrious Johnson would never do. Demetrious Johnson ain't coloring his hair, even though he don't got none. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be outlandish. He's not going to be all tatted up trying to look like, Conor McGregor. He's not going to do none of that stuff, right? He is a character. That's why Dana White is pushing him so they can paint the picture they want to paint with him, right? But he still got to win, which he's doing right now. But he ain't winning against anybody of worth outside of Aljamain Sterling. Well, Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan, yeah. But a lot of people say he didn't beat Peter Yan, right? So what are we doing, right? Why are we trying so hard to push him as a needle mover when he don't have the skills to do what guys like Demetrious Johnson is doing, Conor McGregor is doing? He can't do those things. He can't call his shots, right? There ain't nothing he can do that will put him on the same level of all the greats, right? There's no great you can name. Ain't nobody calling Sean O'Malley's name like they're calling Demetrious Johnson's name. Joe Rogan considers Demetrious Johnson the GOAT. Freaking GSP considered Demetrious Johnson the GOAT. Okay? Even Chael Sonnen said it at one point, right? Who's saying that about Sean O'Malley? No daggone body. Right? So what I don't get it. I don't get it. What are we trying to do with Sean O'Malley? I know we're desperate for stars, but he ain't it. He is not it. I'll push Kevin Holland higher than I push Sean O'Malley. Right? And like I said, and freaking Sean Strickland already ate him up. Was saying you let dudes hit your wife. That's a no, man. Like I said, he done already burnt that narrative as the stand-up dude that gets it done. He ain't that guy. Now, Demetrious Johnson wasn't a shit talker. He didn't rain his mouth. He let his fighting speak for him, right? But Demetrious Johnson can do that when you can do a flying armbar into submission to win a fight. Can't nobody else do that? You see what I'm saying? So Demetrious Johnson can do that. He don't, like I said, he is Anderson Silva like. Anderson Silva was a shit talker. He just did it with his hands, right? When when he bob and weave and you can't hit him, then he knocks you out, right? Then yeah, you don't gotta talk shit. So I don't understand what Dana White had against Demetrious Johnson that he wouldn't give him all the support that he's willing to give Sean O'Malley, right? That's the question I got. That's what I'm talking about today, right? They're, like I said, they're not even in the same universe as far as skill set, popularity, ability, right? Sean O'Malley is social media famous. He's not hardcore fight fan famous. He's social media, YouTube, so on and so forth. He's a character. He's a character. As far as fighting goes, he is a okay fighter. He's not a world beater, right? He's not anywhere near saying GOAT. He ain't anywhere near none of that. He ain't nowhere near, he got the fight with Aljamain Sterling, which makes him a champion. Let's see how long he holds it. He holds it for a minute. I'll take back what I said. We'll see. I doubt it though, right? That's all I got, man. I was like, why are you pushing Sean O'Malley, as a needle mover? He simply is not. But it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, that's all I got. Hey, this is Coach D doing what I'm doing, calling it like I see it, talking my share of shit. To hear from me again, peace out.